This is Jordan Tower with JT News. Make sure you slap a like on this for me. Well, obviously, Drake was tuned into Hot 97 last night when Funkmaster Flex went off on him and told some stories on the air because he fired back in a club last night and said, hey,
keeping New York music alive, I don't mean going and playing the songs like 4 weeks late and shit, trying to sound cool, late night, prime time on the radio, 7 or 9 o'clock, talking all that bullshit. I mean, shout out to the real DJs.
Let's keep New York music alive. I don't mean playing the records 4 weeks late, 3-4 weeks late, and then claiming they're, you're cool, primetime radio 7 and 9, and then he shouted at all the real DJs in New York. So obviously he's taking a shot at Flex. This looks like this is the last thing Drake is going to say about this. This was his last tour stop in New York. So basically, if you missed it last night, Funkmaster Flex took to the radio and he told some stories about Drake. Now, he made some good points, so don't think I'm biased in this, okay? I just think it's kind of a hater move. I mean, let's not forget the foundation of this whole problem was with Hot 97 Ebro reporting a fake story, okay? So, Funkmaster Flex took to the radio last night. He addressed that you can't get me removed from the radio because we know Drake said, remove Flex from Hot 97 and I'll do the show. He said, you can't remove me from the radio. He spoke on the whole reference track thing. He spoke on how it came out.
In Meek's camp, if he's going at him, he lays the verse on the song. He gets pressed and questioned, his team panic and give up the reference track to say, whoa, he didn't write it.
And then he also spoke on address Jay-Z. Jay-Z came for you and Future's on the hook. Address that.
CJ went at you. Future's on that hook, cause you need him to be street. And Khaled been keeping me off of you for 6 months.
Then he said Khaled's been keeping Flex off attacking Drake. Then he also talks about how he's not worried about Drake because 70% of his fans wear high heels and sandals.
70% of your fans wear high heels.
But Flex has a shoddy track record the past 7 years. It's not like back in the days where he could just end an artist's career. Right now, someone like Drake or somebody has the power of social media behind them, and they're actually more powerful. Again, I'm not biased in this review. These are the facts, okay? Drake is the man right now. Everybody's trying to tear him down. But let's just break down the history of this problem right here for the past week and put it to bed because we know it's over at this point, okay? So it all started, OVO Fest. Ebro went up there to OVO Fest, claimed he had a conversation with Drake talking about the Joe Budden thing, and then Ebro basically said Drake told him, he won't release those DMs that he keeps talking about because, I was wishing him well, alluding that he's strung out on crack.
And then Drake was we talked about Joe Budden, and he was like, I gave him a little look. That's why Joe ain't put out the DMs. The reason he ain't put them out is because I DM'd him and said, I hope you get well in this tough time. AKA, you out here strung out on dope or something. I heard the rumor was that Eminem was gonna gear up to come after him. And he laughed. He was like, that's not gonna happen. He was like, he'd never do that. And if it did, I got something for him.
And then Ebro said, there's a rumor going around that Eminem's gonna jump in and diss you. And Drake said, he's not gonna do that. But if he does, I got bars for him too. He let us believe this was a real story. So obviously it caught on fire overnight. Then Drake responded by saying in a Instagram thing, it must be a slow news day. And then Paul Rosenberg, Eminem's manager, said the same thing. So then it forced Ebro to admit that it was a fake story. Drake would never do that, blah, blah, blah. Then Drake comes to New York for the Summer 16 tour. He takes a shot at Hot 97. He basically says, Hot 97 up there telling lies, fire Funk Flex, then I'll do your show. Or when you fire Funk Flex, I'll do your show. Which follows into the next day where Ebro's team basically said, They talked about it, and then Rosenberg fired off and said, yo, this is a business. We're not going to do what Drake says.
We don't do whatever Drake says.
The top artist. You know, we're not going to just fire Flex because he says so. So then Flex had responded via Twitter the past night, saying he's going to respond to Drake that Saturday. Saturday came, which was last night. He said all the things he said. But their beef stems back from last year when he took Meek Mill's side on the Meek Mill versus Drake beef. He was leaking the reference tracks. He was saying fuck Drake at concerts.
Fuck that Canadian nigga!
You know, he really took it personally instead of being in the middle neutral. So Drake, obviously, all this stems back to, what I'm trying to say is all this comes back to Ebro telling a fake story on the air about the Eminem thing. Eminem coming for Drake. Got everybody fired up. And then it stirred up those old feelings that Drake had about Funkmaster Flex. And we got this. So basically he says last night, he takes his final shot at Funk Flex and says, you know, you're not a real DJ. You're late on records. You're not who you used to be. And that's it. And I think this should be over at this point. You know, nobody won or lost. They said what they said. It was exciting for a few days. Let's go on to the next thing. And we know more people are going to come for Drake because he's at the top right now. This isn't going to hurt anybody. Funkmaster Flex, Ebro, they're going to continue doing their thing. Their careers are solidified. Drake's career is solidified. Let's just leave it to bed. It was interesting, but now it's getting corny. Let's just leave it alone. I hope Funkmaster Flex doesn't really address it again. And I hope Drake leaves it alone, too. Drake will probably reference it in a record, as he always does, subliminally. But hey, that's Drake. And Funk Flex will probably say a few words. That's Flex. Hey.